Okay, let's talk again about divide and conquer strategy, right? Why is understanding divide and conquer strategy so important? Well, this is how the government keeps you distracted. This is how the former US government keeps you all weakened and a weakened state where you don't come together, you don't uh, rise above in the face of tyranny. You are in your weakened state, distracted with divide and conquer strategy. So, what are the names that they would call me when I start my new country on the West Coast in 2014? Uh, what have they dished out to try and write me off? Right? Uh, I have not been on the radar to get written off. In fact, there's a reason for that. That's damage control. So, if you have me at a distance, you don't even have to deal with the drama of having to use these tools to write Adam Brisbane off, the world's highest mind in human history, your nulocracy representative. Uh, what might they call me? Bad actor. He is a bad actor, right? He's a bad actor. He is playing a part. He is playing that he's the world's smartest man, right? Uh, this is grandiose narcissism. He's a bad actor, and that's one attack, right? He's a he's a white supremacist. This guy's a white supremacist. Look, he just shaved his head bald like Sinead O'Connor. Obviously, he's a racist white supremacist, even though I've been rapping with black people since the 90s. Well, we haven't seen that. See? Uh, White nationalist. Well, he started a new country. It's there's mostly white people in the Pacific Northwest. He must be a white nationalist. So you can stick that in there and try to imbalance it and weaken our new nation by attributing it to the Civil War and white nationalists wanting to rise its head again and create slavery again so that you can write us off in our new country, right? Uh, Here's one that your modern gatekeepers might use on YouTube, even. It's the classic one liner, you know. Did you get your pills today? Did you take your meds today, Adam? Urkadur, durkadur. This guy's a schizo. Uh, Undead Chronic will call me schizo and not allow me on the stream yard. He's a middleman. In the face of freedom of speech and the First Amendment and all this, being one of the bottom feeders of YouTube channels that are actually live channels here on Dead Chronic, he can play middleman on YouTube and call me schizo. You don't get to be on the StreamYard, schizo, right? You have something different from our reality where everyone is American still, right? We don't understand that you started your country 8 years ago. We were tuned out for 8 years. See, you must be the schizo because we were tuned out, all of us, for 8 years. And that makes us look bad, so you have to be the name. You have to be the one that we get to attack. Uh, Violent misogynist. Here, we can call Adam a violent misogynist. Obviously, he's good at kung fu. He's the best on the continent, probably. Here, uh, his girl will gaslight him after 6 months of abuse as the violent one. Okay, right? Uh, Nikki's mom will walk in on her crying after, I essentially break up with her. And just because she was attacked by her husband, she wants to call me a violent misogynist when I've done nothing. I've never hurt any of my girls, okay? Uh, People just want to call shit. They just want to write you off. They just want to say that you're this or that. Okay? Obviously he hates women, a misogynist. Well, according to science, no women love men yet. Okay? So you can have a critical debate about this. Uh, eh, Obviously I'm anti-woman. No, I would love to make babies with any of you. I've been abandoned for 2 years after a violent abuse. But hey, I would love to have a healthy, meaningful relationship as the world's leading relationship expert. But you see, there's a problem with that. I'm too smart for a relationship. Women want a beta provider that they can cheat on, that they can get high on cheating on. Okay? They want to have that guy that is that rock that's always there for them, that they can get the excitement of a secret affair with. Okay? So they get their narcissistic supply from their beta provider. And see, I'm just too smart for all of them when all the women are sexual narcissists, okay? So he must be a domestic terrorist. He started a new country. Obviously, it's going to end up violent. Well, hey, I don't, I don't resort to violence. You guys have attacked the West Coast with Raytheon laser beams and Apache helicopters, but hey, I have not attacked you guys yet. You guys just think that I've attacked you in your pareidolia, that I am attacking the East Coast with Hurricane Sandy, when I'm not. I'm just a guy that's smarter than all of you. That's all. I'm not doing shit, okay? I may lead every national military in my generation, but that's just because it's the responsible thing to do. I'm just telling you that in advance, okay? So there's always going to be some way that uh, eh, somebody who wants power, a government, a person, they will want to write you off. They will want to call you a name, a one liner, somebody who wants to be funny to the crowd, right? And they want that crowd so bad in their greed that they will write you off. Uh, they will mock you in a lowbrow kind of way, the worst kind of comedy, like the Jay Leno style late night comedy, uh, taking hits at other people's expense, lowbrow mockery. You see, uh, this is a form of manipulation, right? That guy wants to be the funny one so bad. He wants to be Jay Leno. He wants to be who's the next guy who's like that? David Letterman, but he's gotten a little bit better. David Letterman has matured over the years to be a more humane kind of comic. But you see, back in the day, he resorts to that kind of lowbrow comedy, mockery at other people's expense. Uh, this will never be really funny. The best kind of comedy is always going to be the kind of comedy that makes you think, that makes you discover the true nature about reality. And it will be in extremes, so always in extremes, as long as it is totally outlandish. It will be comedy, right? It's comedy to try and write people off in 2022 when I'm talking about outrage culture and cancel culture as a coping mechanism in evolutionary psychology, when I'm telling you that that is how humanity copes, right? By blocking each other, by being offended. It's a choice to allow yourself to be offended, you see. So it's a choice to allow all these words, these one liners, to offend me, right? It's only when we pile on as a mob that all these words become something powerful and something evil, right? It's when our psychopathy gets the best of us as a mob, and then we decide to do something cruel as punishment, when you want to have instead a society of reward, right? You would instead reward the rat in the rat experiments, right? Instead of zapping it with electricity, you would give it cheese at the end of its accomplishment. See, because if you zap that rat with electricity, that rat's just going to cower in a ball and be apathetic and just not want to live. You see, we have a lot of people that are just in apathy, yeah, right? I would say that all the men are in apathy with life, just given the fact that I understand now that no women love men according to the hair test, according to science. No women will shave their narcissism off their head. They need that hair for other men and society. So your woman doesn't love you yet. Your woman is still weak socially, and she will break up with you. She's not even a real friend yet, because even normal healthy relationships, normal healthy friendships last forever. So why would that girl ever break up with you? See, that's even more immature than a normal friendship. So if sex is involved or not, that girl is more immature than a normal friend. And what we call that is a sexual narcissist. If you have an entire society of women that are sexual narcissists, that put their box in their vaginas in, before being good parents, before the children's happiness and proper parenting, with the two original parents. You see, the problem is we've allowed women to become weak. We've allowed women to become sexual narcissists, so no men can be happy. No men can have proper longevity. They all die before the women do, just because we're apathetic with life itself. All these women are so selfish and greedy for themselves. They don't even think of us, the individual, the man. The individual man, no matter who he becomes in life, you cannot get a woman to fall in love with you. They don't understand what love is anymore. For a few generations now, there's been no romance. There has only been sex and female narcissism and women playing God. right? There are no relationships that are healthy. All of your relationships are fragile, like a glass. They could be broken just like that. With enough money, with the right guy, with the right group of guys, with the right skit and scenario, your woman can easily be compromised just because she is a weak, coddled American woman. You know, 8 years after I started a new country, she's playing God with the kids. She is going to be a hooker, incest coke whore with her Red Bull parties in front of my newborn babies. You see, she will be calling the cops on me, pregnant with my baby, and I will never see that son. He will never get to know his father. You see, women's female sexual narcissism, women's quest for power. You see, power comes before love, understanding love and compassion. It comes before morality. It comes before doing the right thing, you see. As long as we allow that to blindside us in society, we're going to have a collapsing society that breaks down into marauding and murder and rape, right? Because 7 out of 10, right, are narcissists with traits of psychopathy. So imagine that. Just imagine that none of the women love men, and everyone's out for themselves, and everyone's kind of a greedy fuck. And on top of it, these spoiled brats who are never raised to show respect or discipline to anybody. Now they have machine guns. Now they have, fully automatic whatever the fuck, right? And they're narcissists. So you see, the problem is like, you know, we're just now understanding what the Second Amendment is for in the midst of an idiocracy where everyone's a dipshit but me on the entire planet, right? And it's supposed to be for an invasion, or if your government becomes tyrannical. Well, you guys just took a cocktail of 9 ingredients that should not have been injected into the human body. Things that cause neurological defects, sterility, sorbate 80. You're going to have a cancer, and you're going to have blood clots and strokes. So why didn't anyone listen to me? Well, because people wanted power, because America wanted to keep its power in its news stations, all spoon-fed by the Pentagon at 4 a.m. every morning. You have to understand that nationalism itself is just this big pissing contest with penis-shaped missiles, just like George Carlin was saying. It's just it's masculinity, bitter masculinity turned into a penis missile, right? In a world that is loveless, where no women give a fuck who you are, because of what I call the Genghis Khan effect, right? Because women innately know that men want to rape and pillage the town, right? So they don't respect men, and they don't fall in love with men because of the Genghis Khan effect. And at best, women will indulge in their own sexual fantasies, but they won't ever love any of the men, you see, because of the Genghis Khan effect. Because what they see as a society ruled by men in the patriarchy, when it's actually a feminist gynocracy with beta men, and I'm the only alpha male on the planet. because I'm smarter than all of you, and I'm hoping to look after you in your stupidity. You see, I am that volunteer who understands Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence and basic rights, the right to life, and that cops shouldn't be blowing your brains out, that no governor was supposed to allow execution, that abortion shouldn't exist. Hey, you need a smart guy to tell you that. And I can tell you that any group at random will vote for that, to have somebody who is intelligent rather than somebody who is popular. So we created this noocracy, and you're just oblivious to it because you've been spoon fed America, America, America in the news. Everything is just going to be either totally benign news or it's going to emulate that America still exists in some way in its sports teams. When you have Tim Pool in his show talking about Democrats and Republicans, when that is divide and conquer strategy, you see, talking about red and blue still. Here, let's distract people and make it look like America still exists. You're all confused. We're talking about Democrats and Republicans. Listen to us. We'll keep you distracted on our show. You know, we will be a middleman stooge and get swatted 9 times on our show like it's no big deal, trying to convey secret messages to Adam Brisbane, the world's highest mind. I don't know why this is happening, right? Our communication is odd. We have very odd communication in our era. In this year, I have not seen my kids for years, and the whole world knows it, you know. And the whole world knows that society is crumbling. The whole world is just trying to keep grips onto what yesterday was. When things were running in business as usual in our most easy state. You see, the average person wants to have an easy state where everything is running smooth and efficient, and no one's rocking the boat. They don't care about who the politicians are as long as their gas prices are down, as long as their kids aren't in danger at school. You know, when I come along and I tell you you all to homeschool, you don't listen. You don't ever hear me on the news. You don't ever hear me because you have all these middlemen that have to emulate that America still exists. So what I'm trying to tell you is taxation is theft. It's always been theft. You don't pay your taxes because no one owns the land. Your property taxes that goes to public schools. Well, hey, you guys should be homeschooling instead so that you can actually build a foundation for your family, because all our families are breaking apart because of female sexual narcissism. So that woman, while you're at work, she's going to be screwing 8 guys. Do you see how that's bad for your family and bad for your parenting? You might come home, but you're oblivious. You're just a good worker drone American guy. You're a blue pillar guy, and you've never seen any of this coming, you know? You've never been blindsided by women yet, right? I have been through the highs and lows of relationships, and I can tell you that women have a problem with loyalty. It's too easy for a woman to be compromised in their relationship if they have a lot of options. And we have that debate, you know, well, what if you had options? And what if you had options? You see, the thing is, what destroys relationships is secrecy. So when you have that secrecy and you hide it for for that heightened sense of excitement to hide it from your beta male provider, right? Well, you just destroyed that relationship. That guy can never trust you again. You blindsided him. You were deceptive. And when you're deceptive with your guy, your main guy, or your side guy, you've blown the relationship, right? You put that a little bit of excitement above that relationship. And you didn't see that it was so easy to screw up that way. You're a sociopath. You're not a caring person yet. You don't value relationships yet. They're expendable to you because you are a narcissist. You are coddled with a plethora of men at your doorstep at every moment. You have men beating down your DMs on Instagram every day, waiting to get into your pussy. Right, ladies? Okay, now you get to charge men for your time, and you get to be a narcissist that way. And you will never value the individual. You will never care about what or who the guy is. You see, as long as they're filling that supply, giving you money, giving you attention, filling your narcissistic supply. So we have a problem in society, a big problem. My boys don't know me, right? They haven't seen me for 2 years. Parental alienation. And none of you in society can pay me back. There's not enough money you can give me to pay me back for parental alienation. I can topple every country in the world. I can lead every military in the world. It's not a big deal to me. What a big deal to me is parental alienation. You assholes. You got in the way of my parenting. You evil women and your control freakishness. You traded a perfect good father, the best dad in the world, to be a dumb American and get your child support money and to blow the whole town with your Red Bulls in every Uber ride. You guys have no inkling about what's good for my boys. My girl is probably locking my child in a closet, torturing him, showing him sex and shit way too fucking early, showing him drugs way too fucking early. And here, a wall of American cops that separated me from my children to appease some coddled, spoiled brats, sexual narcissism and alcoholism and every other trait of debauchery that she has, right? You're all sellouts. You don't understand your own constitution when you take an oath. You don't understand basic rights when you take an oath. And here I toppled your country intellectually. I didn't nuke DC. Maybe I could have had someone do that for me, but I'm not an asshole. I'm not a sexual narcissist. I'm not a jerk. I don't laser beam the West Coast and call it climate change. I don't make dick bully moves on the free market. I don't sanction your country. I don't have tariffs, you see? I'm too intelligent. I don't have fractured leadership. Having a multitude of leaders is irrational in my generation for the Zennial. Okay? If I'm going to represent something, I represent an entire generation, so that I can look after my kids, because all of you in my parents' generation are doing it wrong. You're still drawing property lines, okay? You still have borders. You still have your territorialism. You still have your big egos. You still have a monetary incentive to break up the family, to play God with words, to call extortion child support. Okay? Well, here I'm the leader of the free world, your noocracy rep, your world's smartest man in history, giving you free energy twice this year. You're still pissing the future down the drain. You're still starting up new nuclear power plants after Fukushima, after I have invented the vacuum steam turbine and the gravity generator. You're still doing stupid shit. You see, you're still activated in car culture when we should all be becoming pedestrians again, learning to walk again, like the song, like on REM, When Everybody Hurts, okay? You get out of your cars and learn to fucking walk. Learn to say hi to your neighbors. Learn to be courteous people. We're all trapped beside a wall of glass and narcissism. We're behind our computers. We're atomized. We are loitering in the middle of town. There is no middle of town. Do you see? Everything is built around capitalism. It's built around being greedy. It's built around getting more money than the other guy. You see how that's wrong? You see how that's wrong for my children? Any woman can be bought with money. You see? People like money, and if you devalue human life this way that you have, when you have abortion and you've acclimated death of the unborn, that probably the most evil shit you can do when you've acclimated that. Well, hey, what's next? It's money for assassins, okay? Even in a society of bartering, though, we could be bartering for assassins in the future if everyone's been so dehumanized. If we have dehumanized to the level of where it's the most incarcerated country in the world, when you were supposed to understand liberty and personal liberty, when they had these vaccine mandates, when they had the biggest prison system, you were supposed to understand the Eighth Amendment, but you didn't. Okay? You were all dumb. You didn't understand the right to life for 2.5 centuries, and here you make fun of the guy who does, who after 2.5 centuries of idiot, moron presidents, governors, Supreme Court people filling the roles of these positions, who didn't understand their job for 2.5 centuries. Now you're making fun of me, the smartest guy that ever lived. Right? You're going to put me in your category, in your little box. You're going to put me in your little box so you can marginalize the leader of the free world. Was I not good enough for your spam and your advertisements on your fraud social media, where you compartmentalize everything, where you no longer respect the First Amendment?